What would happen if Antarctica melted entirely? Not over thousands of years. Not slowly. But fast enough for humanity to witness it unfold. The answer is far more devastating, and far more fascinating, than most people expect. Antarctica holds a secret. A frozen kingdom 2 times the size of Australia, containing almost 70% of Earth's fresh water. And if all of that ice melted, it wouldn't just change the world, it would rewrite it. The first impact would be immediate and global. Sea levels would rise, not by a few centimeters, but by nearly 60 meters, almost 200 feet. Every coastal city on Earth would be swallowed. New York, London, Shanghai, Sydney. Millions of homes, erased. Economies, gone. Entire nations, forced to relocate inland. But the destruction doesn't stop at the coasts. When Antarctica melts, the weight of all that water shifts. The Earth's crust would begin to flex and rise where the ice once pressed down. Meanwhile, other regions would sink slightly under the new weight of rising oceans. Earth's shape would literally change beneath our feet. Then comes the next shockwave, storms. Warmer oceans feed hurricanes, typhoons, and superstorms. With sea levels high and temperatures climbing, the atmosphere becomes unstable. Storms become larger, more frequent, and more violent. A single superstorm could reshape entire regions in a matter of hours. But if the flooding doesn't force humanity inland, the heat might. Antarctica's ice acts like a giant reflector, bouncing sunlight back into space. Without it, Earth absorbs far more heat. Temperatures rise. Weather patterns break down. The jet stream destabilizes. The world shifts into a chaotic climate we've never experienced in human history. Rainfall patterns flip. Regions that rely on predictable seasons become deserts. Other regions drown in constant storms. Agriculture collapses as the world's breadbaskets either dry out or flood. Billions of people would face food shortages unlike anything the modern world has ever seen. But one of the most surprising consequences happens at the heart of the oceans. As fresh meltwater pours into the sea, it disrupts global ocean currents, including the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, one of the main systems that regulates Earth's temperature. If this system weakens or collapses, Europe could plunge into brutal winters. Tropical regions could overheat. Weather becomes unpredictable, violent, and extreme. And yet, beneath the chaos, something else would emerge. A new Antarctica. Without its ice, the continent would reveal a hidden landscape, jagged mountain ranges, deep valleys, and even vast basins that would become new inland seas. Rivers would form where ice once stood for millions of years. Life, plants, insects, and eventually animals, would begin to colonize this newly exposed land. Antarctica would become green again, just as it was 50 million years ago. Humans too would try to adapt. New inland cities would rise on higher ground. Floating infrastructure would appear along new coastlines. Agriculture would shift north and south toward cooler climates. But survival would depend on cooperation, technology, and speed. Because the world wouldn't just be hotter. It would be unstable, unpredictable, and constantly reshaped by rising seas and shifting weather. If Antarctica fully melted, humanity wouldn't go extinct. But our cities, coastlines, economies, and way of life would be transformed beyond recognition. Earth would enter a new chapter, one we might not be ready for. A world with new oceans, new climates, and a new Antarctica rising from beneath the ice. The question isn't just what would happen if Antarctica melted, but whether we can prevent the world from ever reaching that point. Because once the ice begins to disappear, the changes may be impossible to reverse. Make sure you subscribe to Infinite Explanations if you want your ongoing breakdowns, explanations and what-ifs of all things science and natural.